Here's a question. Have you ever gotten unrelenting texts from a person? They just keep going and going and going. Now, these unrelenting texts can take two forms. In some cases, they're just really long texts. You know those devil texts where you have to press the little arrow at the bottom? And when you do that, the whole text message fills the whole screen, like a wall of text. And that's what it is, right? The wall of text. And the second type of wall of text wall, they're briefer, but they don't stop. It's like a series of incomplete thoughts that keep firing out of the narcissistic person. Text, 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 text. Sometimes it's just one after the other. Boom, 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 boom. Sometimes there's a few-minute pause. They reload, and boom, 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 boom. And if it is the case that maybe for some reason you put your phone down to drive, to work, to care for a child, because you're out eating with someone, or just do something, when you open up your phone, you see that big number over your text icon that was cleared before this break. There's not lots of names, just one or two, and most of the texts are all for one person. If you've been through this, you know what I'm talking about. And what was interesting, I was talking about this with someone recently, and she had a great name for it. She called it the text wall. And I was like, that's it. It's a text wall. And it really brought it home to me. It was like the perfect name. And it kind of gave it more like... Narcissistic communication has always been difficult. Throughout history, it's always been difficult. I'm sure. But in the last 20 years or so, it has gotten to be next-level difficult because of cell phones and texting and DMing. Back in the day, and some of you may be too young to know this, but back in the day, there was a telephone in the house, one landline, and the narcissistic person who was blah, blah, blah and coming at you is not going to keep picking up the phone and just go off and off and off through a bunch of phone calls some way. And I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember the glorious days of the busy signal. That meant when one person was on the phone, another call couldn't come through. You just hear did-eat, did-eat, did-eat. What a great way to keep the narcissistic people at bay. Listen, that back in the day, the narcissistic person wasn't going to sit down and write you 20 letters a day and mail them. Texting is set up for impulsivity. It's set up for verbal diarrhea, for reloading, and for unrelenting communication. And as I said, these text walls can either be really long, fill the whole screen, or they could just be a lot of these little shots just coming at you, like these incomplete thoughts. All of this can create a sort of fear response for people in narcissistic relationships who slowly become afraid of their phones because of the unrelenting abusive communication coming through their phone. And it's a catch-22. Pick the phone up and you're facing this sort of deranged, unhinged, gaslighted, delusional, abusive, critical, accusatory, angry messages. But if you don't pick up the phone and look at the messages or respond to them, then you face the further wrath of how dare you not respond to me. So the text wall is sort of a unique feature of the narcissistic relationship. I think you can get text walls in other relationships, but it's kind of a universal here. The dysregulation that they believe, the narcissistic person believes that they have the right to send you 50 text messages or a 20-page text message in the middle of your workday. Their rationalizations may include, you need to hear this. I have the right to say what I feel. I am not going to be silenced. Or maybe they don't even have a rationalization for their whole tirade. They just do it. And then, they would definitely get enraged if you were to tell them that this is unacceptable or out of control. How dare you tell me that I am out of control? Right? That's self-righteous nonsense. Now, the text wall is a way, in part, how narcissistic people regulate. They'll text 50 kooky, wacky, distorted, off-base things, and honestly, they kind of feel better. It's kind of like throwing up after you eat some bad fish. You feel better once it's out of you. But now, other people are holding the bag of the narcissistic person's dysregulation, and of having to sort through this crazy text wall. Listen, none of us are superhuman. We are human beings. And when we understand, despite understanding what narcissism is, still, these text walls bother us. They get into our head. We have feelings about them.
They're annoying. They leave us feeling angry, unsafe, misunderstood. They're time-consuming. These text walls can drop into a day that is important to you. These can happen right before maybe you're supposed to take an exam at school, or give a presentation at work, or start an important part of a job, or go to what was supposed to be something fun, like a birthday party. And then that
experience is ruined for you. Or you may get distracted and may not be fully at the top of your game for the exam, or maybe the sporting event or game you're going to play in, or the presentation you're going to give. In fact, as a result of this, it may even go pretty badly. Rumination is rumination. We can't turn it off, and it takes up a lot of mental real estate. The text wall often, though, is also a big bait. The narcissistic person is attempting to draw you into an argument in which they've already drawn a foregone conclusion, so there's really no point. Really, what they want is for you to become as dysregulated as them, so then they can calm down and turn around and call you the dysregulated one. Or it could be that they're jealous or competitive in some way, so they want to ruin something for you. At times, these text walls are a series of grievances, one after the other. Might be grievances you've heard over and over again. And it may seem that once they start, they just can't stop. Again, that's that impulsivity. Almost all narcissistic people are just a big walking bag of grievances. They are angry at the world. They are angry at you. They are angry at people they've never met. They're angry at how everyone seems to have it better than them. They're angry at how unjust life is to them. And you can't fight the world. They can't fight the world. So laying all of their grievances on you gives them an identifiable target. And it's a way for them to offload some of that brooding, angry pressure within them. The low empathy of narcissism means that they don't actually really care how their text wall affects you. That means this bizarre thing may happen after the text wall, right? So after the text wall is delivered, this happens sometimes, not always. What I'm about to describe tends to happen more with more vulnerable and communal narcissistic types. So after that they text wall you, now they may be regulated. And then they may send a normal text, either sometimes in the middle of the text wall, but often afterwards, like, "What time are we meeting the kids for dinner?" And you look at your phone and you're like, what the actual hell? We go from a person who is litigating the past 20 years of your relationship through a series of angry texts and every mistake you've ever made and how grateful you are and how you are a liar and blah, blah, blah. And then, in your overwhelmed, befuddled, what in the hell is this happening to me state, then you see them send a text that says something normal or regular, like, "What time are we having dinner?" Vacillation tends to be a very classical move in a narcissistic relationship, but don't let it trick you. The vacillation is the problem. The normal text doesn't correct the madness of the text wall. They used you as a punching bag, and now they feel better. And they don't care if you feel terrible after what they did. So you may wonder what the hell you're supposed to do when you hit the text wall. Number one, every narcissistic relationship. Number one, do not engage. A text wall is an adult digital tantrum. They are dysregulated and they are looking for a fight. As I said, these text walls are often about baiting, but sometimes it's about gaslighting, and oftentimes it's just a delusional madness. That doesn't mean you don't answer, okay? Only you know in your particular relationship if not answering is going to start off text wall part 2 that day. Because it sometimes does, and you can't manage that now. So you're like, if I don't respond, I'm going to have text wall part 2. But you might want to search for the answers in their word salad. Now,
don't get me wrong. You giving a sane response to the one maybe answerable question in the midst of their digital tantrum may often flare them up even more. Like, you'll say, "Dinner's at 6." And then they'll say, like, "Why aren't you answering the rest of my questions? You're avoiding all of the other stuff. You always avoid stuff. Blah, 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 blah." And now you're in text wall 2, right? So that's debating. I'm telling you now, a thumbs up or a heart, that's going to get them flared up too. They don't like that. So yes, less can be more, but do not try to get